But then I've noticed, controversial opinion, but stereotypes, not always true, but stereotypes are there for a reason.
But I don't see a point in being friends with my ex. Like, there's nothing there anymore. I have friends. I don't want new friends. So like, it doesn't serve any purpose.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that it's over?
In whatever, hopefully, adult, healthy way, end things. How do you guys tackle that?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I spent so many years like dating insecure people.
I'm not proud of it, but I said that, okay, I think this will turn into a relationship in a month. I see it going there. I'm not proud of it.
It's so sad.
I know.
So have you guys had any patterns in the people that you've dated, like in terms of professions or like cultural, geographic backgrounds, or like do you have a type?
I haven't dated anybody who's like a proper 9 to 5 guy.
Oh,
Like,
that's your type, artsy.
I go for people who are extremely passionate about what they do. And I think that has backfired because they love their job so much they don't have time for anything else.
It comes first.
Yeah.
So much so beyond you also.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And that has never like worked in my favor. But I can't help it. Like, I need to be with the guy who's really passionate about what they do.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's so attractive.
Yeah.
And regarding my type, I made a very conscious effort that I meet people who are different than me to get like, a variety of interactions, experiences, thought processes, because I always found like meeting new people in whatever setting really helped me grow as a person. So yeah, I don't think I had a type per se.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned like a conscious effort, because I think our type is sometimes like, or at least mine, like is the default, like the one that I fall back on, that I like innately am attracted to, and then sometimes I just flow with that.
Yeah. And I think it also changes with time. Like, I remember when I was younger, I would always like go for the bad boy.
We all
But
did.
that has changed so much over the years that I look for somebody who I can rely on, who is supportive, who is kind.
Stable.
Yeah, exactly. I look for stability now.
Yeah.
Earlier I just look for like, is he cool? Like, how would my friends be with him? Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, he does his taxes. That's so attractive.
That's funny how our priorities change though, as we do. I think a lot of times your partner, like who you're attracted to, is always a mirror of like yourself and like your relationship of yourself. So the more you grow and mature, like your preferences and choices reflect that change. But it's funny, like my type is always like, very consistent throughout. And it's just like, what I have observed upon introspection is that I think, given my own cultural crisis that I have, like my identity crisis about, okay, like, am I American? Am I Indian enough? I have always been attracted to very Indian partners because I like want someone who can bring that out in me. And I'm so scared that I'm going to lose the traditional cultural values if I date someone who's not Indian, that I'm like, okay, I want to pass this on to my children. Like, I want my children to be like religious and like to do all of those practices, but I myself am not equipped to alone teach them. So I've observed that this is probably why I'm like really into the Desi boys, very Desi boys, and they mostly hail from the great state of Uttar Pradesh.
Statistically, mine too.
What is it about UP? Like, what is a UP guy?
So UP is a big state with a lot of variety within it itself. But I would say like strong cultural values, family centricity has been a big one, like a focus on family and respect of one's elders and parents. And I think how a guy deals with their parents and respects their parents is a huge signal to me about how he will respect me and my parents. And I've always thought about that. Like, if a guy is respectful of his mother, I know he will treat my mother well. And that's like the biggest thing. It's like very important to me.
That actually goes deeper than even just the UP thing, that maybe just our experience where we happened to meet and found this, like, in our pool we can't have enough data to have like an overall thing. But I do think that like now as I get older, I've started realizing that these things are important to me. When I was younger, I really didn't care. Like,
it's more just about us, like not about family. No, but I really feel like I also have this trend in terms of the types of people I'm attracted to, which is like I don't know. I mean, like, I guess he worked in sales.
Always. Sorry.
Like, I had a couple relationships with guys who work in sales, and I think it's because my dad always worked in sales, and I don't know, like, I think that was the
gravitate
precedent that was
towards
set.
the sales and marketing type, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, just because my personality is like
Yeah.
very complementary to that.
Exactly. And I was just going to say that because the kind of role sales and marketing is, you tend to be a people's person. And you are a people's person. So that explains the
That's
complementary.
funny, yeah.
But then I've noticed, controversial opinion, but stereotypes, not always true, but stereotypes are there for a reason. Often. Right? Like, even with the cool, try-hard type, there is a very deep-seated insecurity.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I spent
and-
so many years like dating insecure people, and I feel like it's so detrimental to your sanity because you spend so much of the relationship like trying to prove to them that no,
You're
I
good
am
enough.
with you, you're good enough. Like, no, X so and so is not a threat. Like, just because I'm talking to another guy doesn't mean that I'm like cheating on you, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're with a guy, finally with a guy who's secure, it's such a relief because
Yeah.
they are not stressing you out if you are
Yeah.
out with friends and there happens to be a male person in the room.
Oh, wow.
Which has literally happened. Like, okay, like,
Yeah.
you didn't tell me there was going to be a guy there. I'm like,
Oh,
I
that
didn't
sounds
know that
exhausting.
was like a problem, right? And it comes down to trust. And again, like, are you confident enough to trust
Yeah.
that you are amazing? You are
The trust goes both ways, actually. You trust your partner, and you need to be secure in yourself to not feel that, like, you know, if they've given you no reason to not trust you.
Yeah.
The jealousy.
Yes, the jealousy is also, it's a two-way thing. I'm not saying it's always innate. It's often, I mean, not often, sometimes the other person also gives you a reason to do that. But if that's not there, sorry. Go on.
No, if you can be secure with one person and you can be like really jealous with another person if they're giving you the reason.
Yeah. But then if someone's jealous with every person, then it's probably a little more innate than the person's actions.
Like, they need to work on their relationship. with
Yes.
themselves.
And I think we're all working on ourselves, but we can't ever make it somebody else's problem to do it. Like, we have to make it a collaborative thing, but that scale needs to tip on us more than the partner, always. On that note, if you think that, like, at what point you're like, okay, you figured out that this is not working with the person, whoever it is, and you tend to, you know, like, in whatever hopefully adult healthy way, end things. And now the dreaded post-ending phase comes in. How do you guys tackle that?
I think I give myself as much time as I need. I don't have this urgency to, like, you know, to be okay. Like, it's okay to be not okay. So I give myself that time, and once I'm like, and I don't block the person. Like, I have this thing I do. I don't block the person. I want to be that okay that there is a communication channel, but I don't want to communicate. I want to get there.
Get that win that, okay,
Yeah.
I could have texted you, but I didn't. And
Yeah,
you
because
said
I don't
like
want
it.
to.
I don't feel like it.
Yeah, I don't want to. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to text you because, oh shit, he's blocked. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why I can't like text you.
Yeah.
I want to reach that place where I know I can text you.
Yeah.
I know I can have a conversation with you,
Yeah.
but I don't want to. Like, there's nothing left there.
I mean,
like,
that's the ideal. That's
Yeah.
the ultimate
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
But what do you do if you're not there yet? Like, supposing you're like really still heartbroken. And I feel like this also comes up when it's not you who ended the relationship, when it was the other person. And
Yeah.
Or
you're
it's
really
circumstantial. Where it's
Yeah.
neither of you and it just happened to be a situation where it didn't work
devastated.
out.
Couldn't be together.
Yeah. Essentially, like, you didn't have too much agency over the relationship ending. How do you deal with that? Yes.
It's really hard. I feel I'm the kind of person who will like kind of put up with things being so bad and still not want to leave because I will have invested so much time and energy, and I'm like, no, I can fix this. Like, I already spent a year like working so hard on building a relationship. I'm not ready to let it go. That I will just let it get so bad that person will automatically break up. And sometimes I'll like
Yeah.
try to start sabotaging it towards the end, like
Subconsciously.
picking
Or
fights,
consciously.
hoping maybe subconsciously that this will be the one to end it. So anyway, in that
Yeah.
case, like, I have always been the one mostly broken up with, as opposed to being breaking up with someone else. And it's really devastating. And I totally agree with having a grief period. firmly believe that no contact is an extremely powerful tool to be used in the breakup period, especially soon after, where you are not to have that person's energy in your life whatsoever. But the more stimuli you have, the more you're like scrolling back and looking through pictures and texts, the slower the healing process will be. It's so hard though.
I mean, you need to delete all the pictures, all the text.
Do you really? I've never deleted.
I mean, not immediately. Like I have that phase. So like how So for me, like no contact, then the purge, and then like the healing starts, because it never immediately starts. But during the whole process, before the healing starts, there's the grieving period. So interestingly, how you said, like you started off by saying that like I allow myself, it's okay, I allow myself to be sad. That's one thing that I, for some reason, didn't allow myself to do when I was younger. I would just be like, I would try to be very like practical and rational with my emotions. And emotions and rationality are loggerheads. They can not never, but usually they wouldn't be, harmonized. So I learned that over the years that it's okay. Take some time to actually feel the pain. And that there is no correct time period for it. Now for me, like, I always used to be like, oh, it was only 6 months. How could you be crying for 3 months about it? There is no correct.
There is an inner judgment of like, how is this taking this long?
Exactly.
I used to think like, it's been 6 months, it's been a year. Like, how do I still have feelings?
Exactly.
And I think a big part of my healing journey was accepting that there might be a part of me, small part of me, that will always love that person. And it was so hard for me to realize that like there is just a small part of my heart that this person occupies, and maybe it'll get less and less and smaller and smaller.
Initially I'm like, I used to think that the antithesis of love is hate, but it's actually indifference. Like romantically.
It's hard to get to a place of indifference. Like I think you have to swing to hate first. Like I mean, you go from loving to like okay,
loving, hating,
and then indifference. Like that comes later.
That's true. Actually, I hate admitting it, but sometimes
but
the hate is there.
Have you ever had the case where like an ex has come back or has tried to like be friends with you after? Like, do you think you could ever be friends with exes?
I think it really depends on the kind of relationship we had, and it depends why did we break up. How did it end? But I don't see a point in being friends with my ex. Like there's nothing there anymore. Like what? I have friends. I don't want new friends. So like it doesn't serve any purpose. I'm not friends with any of my exes.
Okay, I have a very different view here. I think it really depends on the nature of the relationship you had. Sometimes people take such an important role in your life, not romantically, but in other ways.
Right. So you still want them around.
Yeah, or like, I don't know.
Maybe I've never had those kind of relationships where I'm not fully invested in that person. And I feel if you like really love that person, if you're fully like 100% invested, you can't go back to being friends.
It's so hard to be like, I have you, but I can't have all of you. Especially if that person is seeing other people.
But then if you don't want them, I don't want them.
I've ever been in that situation.
Same.
Like with any of my exes, like it's hard to look at them and be like, I feel nothing. How do you know that it's over?
I make that list beforehand. The one I was talking about during the healing period, not healing, the grieving, or whatever. Right afterwards, when I'm like, these are the amazing things, these are not. If it starts feeling like I'm not happy anymore, and not just me,
That's a big one.
the other person around you. Okay, like if you're just always not happy, then I reflect and I'm like, what are the goods and what are the bads? And then I'm like, and then I look at it at a much larger macro level. These are micro things and even macro level. I don't know. Very often,
very data-driven approach.
obviously, right now I'm sounding that way. It's always like, why am I fighting so much?
No, I have a very, very easy metric to know when it's time. When you know that it's not going to work out. And in my case, it was when I have to start convincing myself to be in this relationship and start manawing myself, start trying to convince myself as to why I'm with this person. So this has happened to me where like, there'll be a phase of challenging times, and I'll have to explain to myself, Chandra, you do like him. Like, you remember you liked him for these reasons. That's a really big red flag that I should never be in a position where I have to convince myself to stay. And so, for me, it's like, either I tell that person that something's really not working, and if this doesn't change, then I'm unfortunately not going to be able to stay. And if they change it, then that's great, you know, and that has also happened. I really appreciate when people incorporate feedback well and act on that.
Part of a healthy relationship.
Definitely.
Communicating your needs. And of course, if it's not like something that's just core to them, like if I need something that just can't serve, then it's not a right fit. But if it's something that they work on, I really appreciate it.
And that builds even more love.
Yeah.
That, wow.
What's your answer to that?
Yeah.
I'm very curious for the secure person to tell us. Like, I am a reformed secure person. 10 years ago, I wasn't.
I'm still working on it.
But that's okay. Like, I mean, there are moments and all of us have lapses, right? Like, not lapses, there are moments when we're not all, nobody's 100% secure. What's your answer to that?
I think when I have to hide things from my friends, like something that they did, and I just can't tell anybody. I just feel, okay, this is not going to...
That's actually a very smart test.
That's a really good one. I've read about that too, where it's like, when I have to be ashamed to tell my friends that he did such and such thing.
So my reaction was such and such.
My ex forgot my birthday, and I just did not know how to tell my friend. Like, I was so sad, but I couldn't even tell my friends that I'm sad. Like, they'll be like, okay, what happened?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, he forgot my birthday.
And they'll just be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I didn't want to hear that. I'm like,
Sorry,
nice.
sweet.
That's so sad.
That is. I'm
like
glad it's an
And I had moved to the UK like 2 days before it happened. So, like, I did not know anybody in
new
that
country, new place.
No, I don't know anybody.
Let's not bash the man, but that's so sad.
It is. It's really sad.
I think when you have to make excuses for someone
Exactly.
to other people,
It is really bad.
I have been that person.
I know.
I've hidden so much stuff. Or I've like tried to paint a much better picture than what it actually is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like he got me this thing, like, or he did this thing, or like I make stuff up. Like, it's bad.
Like, I once had this, thrilling, so fun to be with them, but a situationship. They're not giving me anything. We're not on the same page in what we want, but when we're together, it's so fucking fun. Excuse my language. But in that situation, I was always justifying that, oh, he'll come around. And then I realized, okay, that's instead of actually, because that friend who I was going to was so understanding that I went to her.
Yeah.
But I reached a point where I'm like, her advice was a broken record. I was listening to it for 6 months, and she actually said, Shabir, for how long? At this point, you could have had a baby.
Yeah. Seriously.
So that hit me.
Okay. Breakup happens. Girl is devastated.
Yeah.
Whether she breaks up or is broken up, she feels the weight of the severity of the pain.
Yeah.
Like white hot daggers in her heart. Okay?
Yeah.
Instantly. The day after, I'm sobbing. I'm crying. I'm calling him. Please take me back. I have lost all dignity and self-respect. I have sobbed to him. Please take me. I've shown up at his house. Our house, formerly. Right? Please take me back. Please take me back. Looking back, it's really humiliating. But like, I've done that, right?
We were.
And also, guy is fine. In this phase, guy is totally fine. In fact, guy is flying high at this point. Because agar aisi ladki, she is crying so much for me, then I must be the most desirable person on this earth.
Yeah.
I, of course, will find women who are as good or better than she is if she is so devastated over losing me.
Yeah.
That person is doing really well, like emotionally. Okay, for the initial 3-4 weeks, I would say.
Yeah.
Then by week 4, girl cuts off contact, ideally, and starts healing and starts finally feeling a little bit happy again,
or whatever timeline. Could be 5 months, could be 5 days. Yeah.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe. No, but the thing is that she starts being happy again, or she starts focusing on
working
herself.
on trying to not pine over
At that
the
exact
person.
moment when she starts feeling better, that's when his flip switches and he's like, oh shit, I lost the best thing that had happened to me.
Also, that going back is validation, regardless of gender. Like, something ended and that person keeps coming back. that validation suddenly stops, which is why your ex also comes back, like to go back
He's
to the
like,
theme.
wait.
Yeah.
Did I really lose her? Like,
Yeah.
usko tab tak lag raha tha ki if he ever changed his mind, he could still easily come back to me. And I used to tell him, if you change your mind, please, like, let me know. I'll be here. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you to be ready for me. I've had friends tell me this, like, Chandra, he's still the same person. Like, people don't change.
That's true.
And you can't expect people to change for you. Imagine you entering a relationship again with also a lot of baggage, like with a lot of
that's
pain.
a very hard one.
Like entering a relationship knowing this person was okay to hurt you, or you hurt that person, like it would come up again. It has come up for me where it's like at that time you told me, and when you're fighting, especially when you're breaking up, like you say things sometimes that are very hurtful or that you don't necessarily mean. Like I have told someone, like I hope your plane crashes. Like
I'm scared of you.
That's really mean, but like when someone hurts you so badly, you say things you don't mean, and then that can always come up again. How could you say that to me?
But then that's what I'm saying. Like that's true for any fight, any relationship, even family. You say things you don't mean. You bounce back. I think that's not. It's difficult.
If it's meant to be, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't hold it again.
I mean, generally, a general healthier pattern is that if you do want to give it another shot, which has so many caveats before that, if you still decide to,
then you have to let it go.
Yes, you have to be very healthy about approaching it with a fresh perspective.
You need to have like higher standards now for that person.
Yeah.
And you really need to communicate it to them.
Yeah.